Good afternoon, and thank you to Metra Home Theater Tech Tips. I'm Brett McCall.
I'm Adam Rogers.
And today it's a little bit of a different show. Sorry we're running a tad bit late. I had dead batteries on my mic.
Yeah.
So today we're going to be talking about LED lighting, what you can do in your home, in your theater, your backyard. There's a lot to learn here.
Yep.
And honestly, this is not really my domain, so I'm going to turn it over to Adam and John from our LED Heise line on the car side.
Before you run away, what I'd like to do is talk about, we had that call on the HDMI issue.
Oh yeah.
Would you talk about that real quick?
Yeah, we had. Can you switch me to overhead here?
Are you ready? 1, 2, and 3. There you go.
We got a tech call that involved an extender, an AVR, and a television. And what was happening when he turned the TV off and the AVR off, when he turned everything back on, it did not always resync. So my first question is, well, what happens when you disconnect the HDMI cable from the AVR going into the transmitter? That did not resolve the issue, because our first thought is obviously hot plug. And that will be between typically the extender and the AVR. That did not fix it, so I had him do the same thing at the TV. That did fix it. So what we have determined in that application, your AVR, HDMI cable into your extender, your category cable, into the receiver side, and then your TV. So we put an AIO in right there. Now that interrupts the HDMI signal from the extender to the TV and allows for a hot plug reset. When this happens, you are basically doing a full renegotiation of everything in the system. This also resets EDID, who are you, what are you, what's your resolution, validates that you've got hot plug and 5 volt through the entire system, and it works. Now, this seems to be fairly brand specific on the televisions. In this case, it was a Samsung. I would not write this off as to not think you're not going to see this yourself. When it happens, just plan to put in an AIO2 between the receiving side and the television. Now, in this case, what he had was a DM receiver with IR output. Did not have a relay to run the AIO2, so we recommended using the CS-IR Kit CCUS, which is our connecting block with a double throw relay built in that's code learning. He learned the codes for the Samsung on and off, so whenever he hit Samsung on his system or system on, that closed the relay, gave him hot plug. When he turned the TV off, it opened the relay, and for all practical purposes, that TV was physically disconnected from the system. This is something you guys need to know. If you do not have an AIO2 on your truck now, you really should, because it is absolutely a problem solver. Now, I'm going to turn the floor back over to Adam.
Yeah.
And hand the mic off to John that's hiding over here in the wings.
All right, that works. So yeah, guys, so today's a kind of a special episode. We're going to be bringing in John Osborne, who is our product lead on in our Heise LED line. So normally he deals with the 12 volt side with the car guys and everybody, but today we're bringing him on to the 120 volt side to kind of talk more about how we can use LEDs in our installations, inside of inside of a home, inside of a commercial applications, inside of a rack system, so you can see things and make it look all super pretty and everything. So he's getting all mic'd up. He should be good to go. Are you in? Yeah, you should be unmuted now. John, come on in.
Let's see, Adam.
All right. So, guys, this is John Osborne. Like I said, he's
nice
our product lead for Heise LED, or for our Heise line of products. John, I brought you on today because I wanted to get some more information about LEDs and how to use them and where to use them. So, to kind of start off with, what I'd like to do is in the application world, when we're looking at, or pardon me, in the residential world or even in the commercial world, when we're using LEDs there, we're going much longer distances than, say, what you would see on a normal car installation.
Exactly.
So in a car installation, a lot of times we see LEDs used in accent areas.
Exactly, and you're talking about a foot, maybe 3 feet going across the trunk, and that's it. So it's very easy, very simple installation applications. Right. But yeah, when you're running it across your 20-foot theater room,
right,
It brings in a whole new set of
variables that you need to figure out, right?
exactly.
So what we did today was we have a couple different pieces of product that we wanted to talk about. One of the big ones that we have, of course, is a Wi-Fi controller.
Yes, very cool.
And this Wi-Fi controller is really cool because it actually connects to your Wi-Fi at the location, wherever you're getting it set up at. So it's not a point-to-point Wi-Fi where you're connecting it from your phone to the Wi-Fi device itself. You're actually connecting to your Wi-Fi there on site, which is nice because then your consumer, the people who are actually using it, the clients, you can have people with the app on their phones on multiple phones.
Exactly.
And everyone can control it that way.
Yeah, if they're on the app, on the network, it'll show up under the devices, and then they can get in there and change the color. And if they don't want to get into the app, they can get into Google Home and Alexa enable.
Right.
And so you can get on there and tell it, change them to fuchsia, change them to mint, and you can control direct to a specific color.
I didn't know that you could actually use like specific names for it.
They have
And
a huge assortment of colors that they have mapped out. So it's kind of a fun game, just going through trying to find colors and trying
name.
to see if if they work and what it comes out looking like.
Very cool. Okay, so let's talk about with that distance, when we go longer distances. So we sell through Heise, we sell the LED reels in different lengths. I believe we have like 1, 3, and 5 meter reels.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah, and for your home application, most of the guys are using the 5 meter.
Right. So with the 5 meter reel, when we need to go longer than that, so 5 meters, you roughly have about 15 feet.
Yeah.
Let's say I need to go 20 meters. So then I have 4 reels in that application. So
Exactly.
we have to worry about voltage loss, right? We have to worry
You
about
have your current drop.
Right.
So what happens is, as you're going down the reels, 5 meters tends to be the maximum that the internal PCB on the strip light can support. Once you extend past that, if you just keep trying to add and add and add, what you'll see is that your colors will eventually slowly fade out as you're going down the additional strips. So to combat that, we have to re-inject power into the system. And we have neat little things for both 12 volt single color and RGB. And these amplifiers, what they do is they take the feed from the commands from the controller, your primary controller, to continue controlling the colors the same as what they were, but they're injecting a new source of power onto the line.
so that allows you to it's as if you are doing a new strip of LEDs with its own power supply at that point.
Exactly.
But you have the ability to then control them all off of one controller.
Yeah.
So when we go longer distances, so we've got a 5 meter reel here, and it's actually really cool. I got the app on my phone and everything, and it's lights up there and everything, and it's actually really cool. I'm going to do a top-down shot here and take a look at that. So it's actually throwing off the camera. It's making everything else look kind of dark. But the app is really cool, where we can go in and set it to different colors. It even has that really cool feature where you can do the camera. I'm sorry guys, I'm nerding out right now. I'm going to do a red piece here. I'm going to do capture, and then it should, if I did it right, doesn't look like I did it right. Here we go. Hit the button. There we go. And I can send it and change it to a different color. Really cool feature, and that's all built directly into the app on the phone. So anyway, so moving on. We've got the 5 meter reel here, and I need to go 20 meters, right?
Exactly.
So at that point, what we're using then is, and this is something that for myself, it took me a minute to grasp the concept of this, because I'm thinking, okay, well, how are we going to get that signal across that distance, right? Mm-hmm. So let's say in this case, I've got my reel set up here, right? And I've got my controller here. And with my controller, we have the power supply over this way, and let's see, power supply, I'm off camera. Power supply is over that way, and then from there we've got the LED strip that's going 5 meters. Now what do I do?
So at this point, this is where we're going to add in our amplifier. Now, your previous line is going to plug into the input side, and then your new line will plug into the output side. All of our RGB rails already have that 4-pin connector
On both ends,
on
right?
both ends.
Okay.
You just want to look at the printing on the PCB. It does mark out the pin location. So there's a 12-volt pin and then your RGB grounds. You want to match up the red arrow with the 12-volt pin. So if you have it backwards, nothing's going to happen. You're going to be sending power down the wrong way. And
Possibly damaging it, maybe
possibly
even?
damaging
Okay,
it.
so we don't want to do that.
So
now,
be mindful.
For all of our, and this is something that I don't know, I'm asking this for myself more than anything, the layout, so on the RGB, and I'm going to see if it's possible to show this, turn this app back on, or turn the LEDs off. Man, that's so cool. I'm sorry, I'm nerding out over here. So on this here, does it show that? Doesn't show it there. Maybe it'll show it. There we go. I'm going to unplug this here. And what I'm going to do is see if we can bring that up to the camera. Way back up inside there, it'll show RGB and then ground, correct?
RGB and 12 volts.
12 volt, pardon me. Yeah, you're right.
Yes.
Oh, that's right, because you're actually controlling the LEDs off of the ground connection.
Yeah, so each one of the three grounds is being resistance controlled. So
Okay.
when you select a color, 100% red, it opens that ground up completely.
Right.
If you go 50% red, you're going to have a resistance-based opening on that ground.
Floodgate. Floodgate. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. So what you're doing, if y'all couldn't tell, Brent's off to the side and giving us little hints and stuff from the side over there.
Well, actually, this was yours from the other day when you were talking about that.
Yeah, exactly. So
It's not me, it's you, baby.
yeah, it is. So what you're talking about then, and what he's alluding to is the floodgate idea. It's basically, as you open up that floodgate, you're allowing more. You're lowering the resistance, allowing more power to go that direction.
Exactly.
And then when you create more resistance, you're restricting that, so then the
it doesn't
electricity
light up so much.
right, it wants to go in through the
Not
other
an accelerator,
paths.
It's a brake.
It's a brake. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So
you have 3 brakes and 1 gas pedal.
so now, with that being said, do all of Heise's LEDs follow the same layout for which one is red, green, blue, and then 12 volt?
Yes.
Okay, so we don't have to worry. If we go everything from Heise, it's all going to follow that same thing. You can plug it in and you're good to go. You just need to make sure you don't plug it in upside down, or else you're going to put 12 volt on the wrong spot.
Exactly.
Okay. So, and I'm going to make sure, I think I even did this the wrong way. Like that? Maybe?
Yep.
Yeah? Ha! There we go. What do you know? Somebody like me can do it. All right, so with that being said, so we've got the idea that when we go the longer distances, we have the resistance. And as we go further and further, what we run into and what I've seen out and doing actual installations when I didn't understand it, as I would just link those meters together, those reels together, and after a certain point, I started losing power then, right?
Exactly.
So am I, at that point, is it just getting dimmer, or am I actually losing control signal, or what's happening?
The grounds, what it's seeing as its ground return path down that lead is changing, and the amount of resistance that it's seeing going back down is then changing the color.
Ah, okay. So we're actually doing the control just over the distance of it, adding that resistance to the line.
Exactly.
So we're doing the same thing that the controller is doing by adding more resistance to change the color. We're doing the same thing by actually extending that out. So actually, in effect, what you would run into is the LEDs, if one pathway or one channel had a higher resistance than another channel, you could wind up with a different color by the time that you got to the very end, right?
Exactly.
So that's kind of an interesting thought. I haven't run through those thoughts before like that, so that's kind of cool. So when we go the further distances the correct way. So obviously when we go in, or we'll take this room for instance, when we go the entire length all the way around, what we run into is that at certain points I need to inject more power into it, correct? So we're using that 12 volt power to inject more power into it. So what we were talking about before the show started was, what's a good way to make this very clean and elegant?
Yeah, because nobody wants every 5 meters a power wire running down the wall plugging into an outlet.
Right.
Yeah, that's
not the best way to do it. So
beautiful.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah, we want pretty, right? I mean, that's what everyone is trained to do out in that area. So, we got great people on here. Ellen's here. We got Leo here. We got Ryan, and we got Paris. And we've got Kyle. Did I say Kyle already? I might have said Kyle already. Ryan's asking, is RGBW available?
Not as of yet. We have it in our accent puck lights.
Okay.
We actually came out with new controllers. New controllers that we came out with are really cool.
Okay.
They have an auto detect feature.
Okay.
So they can be connected to RGBW or RGB.
So it will just automatically switch between having that extra W channel, the white channel, to having just the 3 RGB
Exactly.
to create that white color.
Yeah,
Okay.
and a lot of people do use the rock lights or pod lights in the home application as well because they're, again, easy to use. You have a high output single source. You can put diverter covers on them so you can direct the light in a specific manner. They're IP68 rated, so if you want to put them on a deck as your deck lighting or something of
Very
that
cool.
nature, it's really good. The reason why people are asking about the RGBW versus the RGB is that to make white with an RGB, what you're actually doing is going 100% green, 100% blue, 100% red. And on a 50/50 LED chipset, there's actually 3 diodes in there, one for each color, and they're all turning on full brightness. And to our eye, from a distance, that appears to be green, or appears to be white. But when you look at it closely, or you have anything that refracts it, you will see all the different colors starting to splay out.
So if we show this off, I'm going to try to anyways. We'll switch over to the other camera. On this one, you'll see here the white light that we have coming off of that. And if we switch off the light and we bring this a little bit closer, let's
We're gonna figure out a way to.
I know we're gonna put in
zoom.
yeah, we're going to put in a second camera. But you see those squares right there, right? So that square, if you can see even just a little bit closer, what you'll see inside of there is there's a total of what, 5 different connections in there, or 5 or 4 different?
You have your 4 connections.
4 connections.
You have power and your 3 grounds going
There
to
it
each
is.
chip.
Okay, so with that inside of each chip, that's how you create that white color. Basically, each one of those in there is a different frequency, giving you a different color, which then creates that effect for it. So
now with an RGBW, there's actually a 4th diode inside of that, and that diode gives you a true white output, and so the red, green, and blue shut off completely. So you have pure white.
okay, so it's one that's actually dedicated just to doing white. You don't have to create it.
Exactly.
So that actually, I've seen that come into play sometimes when they put it on cars, and they'll put it like underneath of a car, and there's like some kind of some other part of the car running really close to the strip, and the shadow shows red, green, and blue across the shadow, which is kind of an interesting effect, but not what they're going for. They're going for the actual white.
Exactly.
So having an actual white channel gives you that true white color for it. Very cool. Oh, I didn't change the camera.
I was wondering.
Thanks,
I was looking
Austin.
up there and
Oh no! Here, guys, let's
posted in
do
on this
this
show
one.
a couple times now, but the first time seeing the cameras going.
Listen,
so.
I am a professional cameraman. I know exactly how to do this. Here we go. Look at that. There we go. Now we got the squares.
So you can actually see the writing on there as well, like we were talking about, your RGB and the 12 volts. Then you have your 3 LEDs and resistors to even out the chips.
Great. Very cool. There. Now everybody's got it. Are you doing stuff over there?
I am now.
You are now. Okay. All right. So there we go, people. We'll give Brent control of the cameras.
There we go.
Leo, you're watching me just stand there doing that. Nobody else is at. Austin's my buddy in there. He's telling me what's going on. Okay. So Leo's asking, is there a way of making these so that there isn't a 1.5 inch gap in the light, making them tighter in the tray without having to backfeed some of it in the wall, or figure out some way of overlapping them? So what he's talking about is the actual placements of the LED
LEDs.
points in there. So, and let me see if I understand this correctly. So this is an RGB 5050.
That is the chipset that is on there.
Okay, so when we go to an RGB, what's the other one?
3528?
3528, where it's RG and B,
Yes.
separate pieces, or if it's a white, strip like that, but it's spaced out a little bit further. So you can get the more dense by, at very least, going for the 50-50, right?
Yeah, the 50-50 is going to give you a higher density than a 35-28. A 35-28 is single color, so each chip going down the strip is the next color in the series.
Right.
And so looking at it, you clearly see multiple colors coming at you. You get your mixed color in an indirect lighting.
Now, it's also less expensive doing it with those, right? I mean, it's a slightly less expensive
They're smaller.
LED. Smaller, okay.
So sometimes you can get them into a smaller application. You might be able to fit them in. Now, what we have here is a 60 LED per meter reel.
Okay.
So with that, the spacing of the chips are obviously set out so that you have about an inch for every 3 LED segment that you can cut. You can get higher. You can get 90. You can get 120 LEDs per meter.
Right.
And that's going to bring the spacing down
Even more.
so they'll be tighter, and you'll be able to cut smaller sections so that you can fit. I think that's kind of what he's getting at.
Okay.
So that you can cut more precise to the length that you're needing
That
to
you're
run.
trying to do. So now we don't have a 90 one, but we do have the 60, which you know, for this here, that's a great application. Now it looks like what Leo's actually asking. Thank you for clarifying, Leo. He's asking not the strips themselves, but the injector, so the amplifier.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so as far as the amplifier is concerned, there's really not, other than just looping back the LED strip back over top of that space that's there with that.
We do have jumpers that they can not put that in line, but to go out of line with it.
That's exactly what I was
Yeah.
I was thinking about. So yeah, we do have a breakout cable where it gives you the 4-pin that connects to the amplifier, and then gives you an open lead that you can solder to the LEDs. So you can put them next to each other and then have them come up to the amplifier and back down again.
So if we have that, I'm going to draw it here for them. So we've got your amplifier, and then, is there a green? There it is. I'm going to borrow that.
Yeah.
So on that, you wind up with your a lead coming out like that. Well,
Yeah.
actually be more like, Brent, I'm doing the thing you hate. Like that. Mm-hmm. And then your green, right? And your red. So basically, it's just a little jumper cable that allows you to go like that, and then
Solder
you
that on.
start that at that point there,
Yep.
right? Now, would you have to solder it on, or you would have to do?
A lot of times, those, if you can get one that has a 4-pin on both ends, a little extension, which we do, you can. You
Okay.
can make it a plug and play.
Okay, which is great, because then you don't have to worry about soldering.
Yeah.
And when you're being a car guy, it's easy because you're in the shop, right?
Yeah, where everything's solder.
Yeah, it's all
By
right
default,
there.
you better solder.
Yeah. Now, being inside somebody else's home, it's
Quick connects, easy to put in,
Right.
easy to replace.
yeah.
Hide out of the way.
We're standing too close. So we got to
6
keep
feet.
our social distancing, right? So with that, let's see if we have anybody else asking any questions right now. Nope, not right now. So when we are looking at the different types of control, now this is my favorite because it's the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, that's
and
very
It,
up to current technology standards. And you still also have your basic IR remote input for a local command on that as well.
That's
So
right.
you do have that as well. So if you want to dumb down, you're sitting in the couch, you don't want to, you're away from Alexa, you can't ask her, you can grab that, point it at it, and change your color.
This also works really well to when you're dealing with. Did I have? No, there
Yes.
we go. Okay. When you're dealing with automation systems, so a lot of times now people are integrating the automation systems with Alexa and with Google. So you can do certain commands through Google and say, you know. But the nice thing about this is that you can send a command direct to the strip from Google or Alexa, and then what you could do on top of that is through your IR commands, through your automation system, you could feed that from the remote control in order to control it that way. So you may have like certain automation scenes set up,
Exactly.
and you could send the command through IR. Now, it does have on the remote, I'm going to switch back over to the top view if I can do it correctly. So on the remote, it actually does have just a straight R, G, and B along the top. It does have a white, which of course would just turn it into a white light. I did something right. Ah, there we go. See, look at that. So it does have that control as well. So I can do red, and I can do green, and I can do blue, which is, I'm just having fun over here. I'm just nerding out. But it also does have different mixes of colors on that as well. So you can learn these infrared codes into your control system and be able to control that.
They're the same codes as an Apple TV.
Oh, they are. I didn't know that. Brent's telling me that these are actually the same codes as an Apple TV. So if you're using this with an Apple TV in the ecosystem, just be aware of it.
What's on that IR channel?
You can actually, do I have one of those over here somewhere? I thought I did. I don't think I do. Yes, I do. You can use one of these. See, this is the nice thing about we're here in our lab.
It has to be a dedicated output in your control
It
system,
does.
though.
So these are little, the IR emitter covers that you can put over top of the IR emitter so it doesn't bleed out anywhere else or accept commands from anything else. So you could use these. You'd have to have a dedicated infrared out, so you can't be splitting it off to anybody else. But you could use this, and that would control that and make sure that nobody else is getting that command. So kind of a...
Learn the hard way.
Yeah, Brent learned the hard way. Ask us how we know these things.
Yeah.
So what other ways do we have of controlling?
We also have a straight up IR without the Wi-Fi. So again, you have your power in, your 4-pin connector, and then a IR pickup. Great for a simple installation.
Right.
And again, if you want to get complex, you already have something complex doing the controlling, and you don't need this to be smart.
Right.
That's a great way to go.
Because you can just use the IR commands for that. So.
What about the music one?
Oh, that's
We
right.
do.
We do have the music one, don't we?
We do have a music controller as well.
So it's got a little microphone on it, and it picks up the beat and everything from
Exactly.
that.
It has
So
multiple outputs on it.
Yes.
there you go. So it's got different Brent, man, you should have been in my spot here. You could have filled everybody in today. Well, but what Brent's telling us over here off camera is that we do have a music controller that's got a little microphone in it that actually picks up the beat. So every time you hear the clap or the beat or whatever happening, it changes color and it goes through like a cycle of colors and whatnot.
Exactly.
And then it also has 2 separate outputs on it, so you can. Oh, it's got 4 outputs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can actually control 4 strips. Are they independently controlled, or do they all show the same thing?
It's
They're
all
mirrored.
They're mirrored. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can have 4 strips off of that one controller. The nice thing is that you don't have to use the extra amplifiers in line. You just have
Exactly.
to run a wire to each one of the beginnings of the LEDs,
Exactly.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, and
So-
we also have DMX ones.
Yes, we do have DMX ones.
We go
We don't
pretty.
refer to them as DMX here in the car audio side. We call them RGB3, but they are your DMX 3-segment LEDs where they are programmable, so you can have them doing chasing patterns depending on the length. There's a zillion different ways you can go with those. So.
The best way to do that, and Ryan, you're right. They're not gone. They're just not in the home theater lineup. However, if you call up your rep or call up your distributor and ask for it, we can get it to you through the Heise line. But and actually the best way to do that, John, you've got over there is the catalog. Contact your rep, contact your distributor, or go on to, what is it, Heise.com or Heise LED?
HeiseLED.com.
Go on to HeiseLED.com. And the spelling for that, John, just to make sure, because Heise is an interesting word.
Yeah, it's HEISE.
There you go.
Let's get that up there somewhere.
Haha.
Aha.
So HeiseLED.com,
Yeah.
and you can actually get this catalog from there. Now, when you and take your time and go through this, because it does have a bunch of other applications, Jeeps and trucks and motorcycles and whatnot. But it does have strips of LEDs. It does have quick connects and everything else that you can use in a home application or in a commercial application.
I have used the cups and a fountain for uploading.
So the owner of the company actually has a water fountain at his house. We've used the rock lights, the marine pucks, and actually put them inside the water fountain so it shines up through the water. So we've done some really cool things with them. And actually one of our there you go. Yeah. So one of our dealers actually has asked a question of me through email, and I haven't responded to him yet because I wanted to get with you on this and
Okay.
actually use this video as a way to kind of discuss it.
Yeah.
So he has an application where he wants to do, his client wants to have outdoor lights and have them be like accent lights for the house. So with that, what he's looking to be able to do is have the RGB aspect of it. And of course, he's a dealer of ours, and so he wants to sell our stuff, of course. But in his application, what he's trying to do is find a good way of getting it out there and getting it in place. Now, this all goes back to the distance thing that we have to worry about when we're going around a house. I mean, that's probably one of the longest runs that you're going to have in an application like that. Now, the resistance changes because it's a puck versus an entire strip of LEDs. Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah.
So in that application, now what you were asking before, and actually, I think you're on the video today. What you're going to look for is the higher gauge wire to get the power over to it. So you could run 14.4 and double up on 2 runs for positive and 2 runs for negative. Because it's DC. We're running just a longer distance over DC, and in order to get there, we have to make sure that we have enough gauge wire to get there.
Yeah.
So
and there's some application charts that you can look at.
So just a quick Google search, right? Just
Yeah.
how far can 12 volt go on this gauge wire?
Yeah.
Right?
And it'll tell you how many amps you can carry on a gauge for a distance.
Okay. And you just have to make sure you have that, whatever your thing on the other end is calling for, you just have to wind up with that much amperage at that end, correct?
Exactly.
Very cool. Okay.
That's where NEMA box is a distribution.
Yeah, going into one central location. Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to get a third microphone. That's what we need to get. And so we can get everybody on here. Basically, what Brent, again, he's off camera here talking to us. What he's talking about doing on that side is you can take go into one central location that's in the middle. So you're going to go power into one place, distribute it out from there in both directions. Because if you go out one side and then all the way around, you're going to, by the time you get down to the other end, you're going to be losing power no matter how large of a gauge wire you have on it. But instead, if you go out from the middle and around, you're going to be able to cover that space or that length better or more economically than going all the way around in one direction.
And that applies to the strip lighting as well. If you start at one end, go 5 meters, and then you will have to use an amplifier to get to the next. If you would have started in the middle and split it, you could have powered both from that one point and gone out without needing to add that amplifier in line.
Right. So, kind of an interesting thing today. I didn't mention this at the beginning, but we are doing a giveaway today. So, best comment, best question today will win this Wi-Fi controller, the one that's actually right here with us today. You actually get an opportunity to win this controller. John, can we throw in a reel of lights for the giveaway for that?
Yeah.
So they can have a full kit, right?
Yep.
So, guys. Best questions, best comments. You still have some time to get them in here. We're going to be talking a little bit more about some other stuff. So get your comments in here, get your questions in here, and we'll give that away as well. And we'll let that run for a little while because we'll see how many things go on with that.
That's a great soffit kit and a great kit for running outdoors.
So we've got the RGB LED rock lights. Is that right?
These are actually what we call string lights.
String lights.
So you have 3 pucks on a single feed, single connection.
Okay.
They do terminate out, so it's not extendable.
Okay.
So you extend these all from the source. But these, like Brent was saying, they're small, they're compact, they're great for soffits, great for little hidey holes where you're trying to get some accent color pop over here and there. Or a cabinet, under cabinet.
Yep.
And these new versions are RGBW. So these will show up, again, you'll see these in Heise, you'll see these in the NPS. These will actually use the new RGB W-CB2.
Is it in the
For the-
catalog?
It's in the new CES catalog.
Very cool. So you guys will see that in the new catalog. So again, contact your rep, contact your distributor for more information. Go on to heiseled.com for more information about those parts. Do some digging. We're kind of in a dead zone right now anyways, or a dead time period. So what you can do is get out there, go onto the website, look through it, take some time to kind of familiarize yourself with what's available to you on that.
What do you have for power supplies?
So the power supplies for it. So that's also very important. Actually, that's
Yeah.
something that we were talking about a little bit earlier. When we go into the octopus or what we
Yeah.
call the squid or whatever
Yeah.
for the power. So let's go back to, we have 20 meters worth of length,
Yeah.
and
So
we need to get power everywhere.
by default, if you were to buy a kit, you're going to get a 5-meter reel, you're going to get a 3-amp power supply, and it's enough to cover the kit. But if you're going to be doing a large application, the kit doesn't apply to that circumstance. You would be better off buying your reels independently, getting your, what we call them squids. They're a 1 to 2, 1 to 4 splitter, and getting a larger power supply. So in that application, you have 4 reels, 3 amps per reel, gives you a total of 12 amps of current that's going to be drawn from all the reels combined. So what you can do is get a 15 amp, which would be the next available size that would be readily available to you, and start your system off with that. From there, you can plug into your controller, but then run a parallel power line with the strips so that you can power up the 3 additional amplifiers down the line off of that one power supply. So you're using one power supply, one outlet, one run to get to your strip lighting, so it's as aesthetically pleasing as it can be.
Yeah, start in the middle. Yeah,
Yeah.
Is what Brent's saying over there. So that way you kind of wind up with, instead of an amplifier or 3 amplifiers
You'd
for
be
that,
down to 2.
down to 2.
Yeah.
And so you'd be splitting off of the one.
If your job allows you.
Yeah, for that application. So
16.4 is a great place to start.
Brent says 16.4 is a great place to start. So let's see what else we have going on here. If anyone has an IP command list for the Magic Home, that's a very good question. So Ryan, right now I don't have the IP commands. I know what you're talking about. You're actually thinking about creating a driver or module directly for it for the control system. That would be wonderful. But right now we don't have those commands. What I can do is give us a call, send us an email, adamr@metrohometheater.com. Go ahead and send me an email and we'll talk about that some more. But right now the commands are not out there for that, so you do have to go through either the app, through Alexa, or through Google, Google Home, or the Google Assistant to send those commands to it.
Exactly.
So, which is still very, I mean, honestly, for a setup in most residential applications, that's perfect. And in fact, you can even set a schedule through those apps when you create the different routines.
Exactly.
So that's a really, really nice setup for that. So with that being said, that's pretty much the gist of all of this. And when you want to go further distances, you want to make sure you have enough gauge wire to go that distance so that you can have the amperage at the end for what your LEDs are looking for. I feel like that's a pretty concise way of saying it.
I think that you've hit the nail on the head.
Very cool. So make sure you have that. If you guys need any extra assistance with designing LED runs, feel free to give us a call. Best way to contact us here is 386-492-8584. And that's we'll give you a hand with designing stuff like that. The nice thing about John is his office is right over here. So when you call me and I have no clue what's going on with LED, I just go over there and ask him. So John, thank you so much for being on the episode with us today.
Appreciate you having me.
You've definitely given us a lot of information. Let's see, basic colors of the URC total control. Oh, interesting. Okay. Ryan is saying that he has it working for some basic colors with URC total control. So he's probably used some kind of sniffer to get the IP commands
That's cool.
for that. So very
Good
cool.
job.
Huh?
Yeah, share it.
Yeah, give us a call.
Open
So
source.
we'll definitely figure that out. So
That puts you way up on the list of who's going to win.
yeah, it does,
Yeah.
doesn't it? Yeah. So, guys, thank you for checking in with
Thank
us
you.
again. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for the comments. Keep them coming, even when we don't go, even when we're not live. Definitely put your questions and comments in there. Check out the other videos we have on the channel. Give us a like. Subscribe to our channel. I was looking at the analytics for our channel. There are, it's roughly 90% of the people who watch our videos are not subscribed. Subscribe to our channel so you get all the newest information as we come into the different episodes that we do live. We want to get our friends here from Heise and from everybody else that are here on the show with us more often, so you guys can see that information. Next week, we actually have a special episode on Wednesday where we're going to be doing a dealer discussion panel. We actually have 3 dealers that are going to be coming in with us to discuss things about how they have handled this hard time right now. We're going to talk about some different ideas as well and kind of open it up as just a nice panel discussion with everybody that's available to talk about that. We're going to have the people that we're going to have the live chat open for you to add your comments and questions at that time, as always. And then Friday, I believe next Friday the 24th, Brent, are we having
Fiber Friday?
I don't think, is it Fiber Friday or are we having JVC and SI back in?
Oh, it's JVC and SI back again.
Yeah, we are. So we're going to have, if you guys saw our episode last, actually Wednesday, we had JVC and Screen Innovations on with us. We're going to be doing another episode with them on the 24th. We're adding in one extra person to that video where we're going to be talking about how to calibrate home theater systems. So we talked about how to design it. We're going to talk about how to calibrate it next. So Brent, did you have anything else to add now that you're back?
Actually, I did. Would you go ahead and give me an overhead
I
real
sure
quick?
can. So let's see. We'll go ahead and switch this over here with this button there.
Okay. One of the things when you're doing cabinets, putting it around your screen, we do offer an excellent variety of aluminum channels that the lights can go into.
Right.
Which makes for a real clean. We've done a lot of situations where we've built them right into the cabinets, so they're downfiring.
So it's actually like this piece here that John just gave you here.
Yes.
So that this is of course a sample of it, but it's an aluminum track that
Can either be flushed in or surface mounted. We have 2 different styles.
Right, and so you actually can go ahead and when you design it, we've seen people actually even cut out drywall.
Right, and build it right in.
Build it into the drywall.
And the steps.
Yeah. So very cool little piece for that. Great for putting under cabinet or for above cabinet or in wall under steps.
Or soffit.
Yeah, different areas
For
like
your
that.
patio?
So yeah, really cool setup for that. Really great stuff. So anything else, Brent?
I think that's it. You guys did a great job on the LEDs today. I learned a lot. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Remember, wire gauge is very critical. It's all about the current loss, and less is more.
Less is more.
On that happy note, don't forget to join us next week for the dealer show, and again for JVC Screen Innovations next Friday.
Next Friday.
I'm Brent McCall.
I'm Adam Rogers.
And we're out of here.
We'll see you then. Don't forget to reset your equipment.